Here is every single resource that I have used and thought was helpful, including resources for grammar, listening, speaking, reading, and a list of YouTube channels, because I think YouTube is such an amazing resource for learning Japanese. So starting off with Genki. Genki is a Japanese textbook that is pretty beginner friendly, and apparently it's quite helpful. I don't know because I've never used it. Apparently it's good, so that's a pro, but Akane's personally, I don't like the format of textbooks because I think those can get really boring, and actually I prefer a more interactive way of teaching. So what is the best way to use this resource? Well, in my opinion, the best thing to do is to try and do 1 or 2 grammar points, because in my opinion, the key to success in textbooks is being consistent and not getting bored. I think I actually have this textbook on my drive, so if you're interested in that, then I guess send me an email and maybe I can send it to you. So next up is Tobira, which means door, if I'm correct, in Japanese, and it's basically also a textbook just like Genki, but this one is more advanced. I think it is fully in Japanese. I have used it a while ago. It is more advanced than Genki. So what I would do is first finish a beginner course like Genki and then try Tobira, because otherwise it's going to be way too hard for you. But I guess because it is in Japanese, it is also way more useful to actually learn Japanese in Japanese. However, maybe if you're not at the right level, then it can be really difficult. So make sure that you know the basis and then try this textbook. It is really nice. I haven't finished it because, well, I got bored. You can give it a shot. I think you'll like it. How do you use it? Well, basically the same as Genki. Just do 1 or 2 grammar points a day and just be consistent with it. So this is Tae Kim's guide, and this is basically a website that covers a lot of grammar points, and they're categorized by difficulty. So there's basic things and then more advanced things to learn. But what I really like about this is that it's really well structured and it's really easy to understand. I really don't think there are any cons to this website. However, when you are going to use it, don't just go to the website and start learning from there. So the way I use this is when you find something that you have already learned, or well, you should have known something that you should know, but you don't, or maybe you forgot it, then just go to Google and type in Tae Kim's guide, or just Tae Kim and then that grammar. And you are probably going to find an article on that grammar point. It's basically just to give yourself a reminder of, oh yeah, this is how the grammar worked. Yeah, I know, I remember now. Although there is a section that's called Complete Guide, I think, where if you are very new to the language, you can just read that, I guess, but I've never used that, so I don't know if that's any good. So that's most of the grammar resources. Now let's move on to listening. When you're starting out and you want to try listening and really get used to the language, then here's a channel that I think is really useful. It's called Easy Japanese on YouTube, and it's basically people that talk in Japanese, and it's very easy to follow. It's easy to understand. There are a lot of subtitles, and that is nice, but also I think that might be a con, because if there are subtitles on a YouTube video, then you are going to, at least I rely way too much on subtitles, and I'm going to end up reading all the subtitles and not listening. So if you are going to try and listen to something, then find something that doesn't have subtitles. And the next few resources will be resources that don't have subtitles. So then how do you use this resource? As I said, when you're just starting out with Japanese and you're unfamiliar with how the language sounds, then I would use this resource to get familiar with the sounds of the Japanese language. And maybe try to see if you can understand a few things, but don't focus too much on that. Just listen. Just get used to the language. Now, if you're more advanced, well, actually, I would say intermediate, then you can move on to something like this podcast, Japanese con Teppei. Con Teppei means, well, con means with in Spanish, because this guy speaks Spanish, I think, or maybe he lives in Spain. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he mentioned it in his podcast somewhere. But anyway, so yeah, this is a podcast that is aimed towards people that know Japanese at a intermediate or low intermediate level, I guess. This podcast is really nice because it is purely listening, no subtitles, just listening on Spotify, for example. And it's usually around 15-minute episodes. So you can do this when you want to focus on listening while maybe doing something else. And for me, that's when I am shaving, making breakfast, or brushing my teeth. It's just during those times I can just have a few minutes and listen to a podcast, and it's really motivating because you really feel like you can understand a lot, and it's a really nice feeling. Now, there's another podcast that is called Yuyu Podcast, and I found this recently, but this podcast is also on YouTube, so you can use the YouTube version and you can actually see what this guy is talking about. But then again, if you focus too much on what you are seeing, then maybe you will understand what he is saying, but not because you are listening, but because you are seeing what he is doing. I guess that's not too bad, but yeah, just be aware of that. It is also a podcast aimed towards, I'd say, intermediate learners, kind of similar to Japanese con Teppei. Just give it a try, find 1 or 2 episodes and see if you like it. So if you don't really want to listen and you just want to watch something, then I recommend using Netflix. The biggest pro of Netflix is that there's a lot of content, and it is obviously aimed for Japanese natives if you are watching Japanese content. But then again, it can be really difficult to watch something and try to understand it when it's aimed towards native speakers, because sometimes you understand something, but it's not because you actually know what is being said, but because you can see what's happening. So see how the resources have their ups and downs. It's really just finding what you like and what you don't like. But I believe there are some extensions on Google that you can combine with Netflix to make learning even easier with Netflix. I'm not sure because I haven't used them. So what I did when I was watching Alice in Borderland, or Ima wa Kuni no Arisu, I think. I was watching the story and I wasn't too focused on trying to really understand what they were saying. I was just focused on trying to understand the story, because when you're watching a movie, you want to know what's going on. And as long as I knew what was going on, then it's fine. Except for some moments when I didn't know what they said, but I could clearly hear the word and I could easily look it up, and I felt like it was an important word, then I would look it up. And then I'd know the meaning and I could move on. Now let's talk about speaking. If you want to practice your speaking, then one of the greatest resources, I guess, is Hellotalk. And Hellotalk is great for talking to actual people because there are a lot of native speakers. It's just like a social media app that you can interact with native speakers. However, this is not paid. I mean, you can use the free version, but the paid version is better because it gives you more translations. You can see more people. Your profile will be more visible to other people when you pay, and just those kinds of things. So I think that might be worth it. You can also choose multiple languages if you pay. But on Hellotalk, it's really easy to just go and start a conversation with somebody. You can just visit a profile and then hit message and just say konnichiwa, genki, whatever you want to say to them. But I felt like when I was using Hellotalk, a lot of the conversations were pretty standard, like, how are you? I'm fine, I like this, whatever. But I guess that also depends on the person you are, so be a nice person. There are also creeps on this app, I think, and they get banned, but yeah, whatever. And then another resource for speaking is Italki, and I'm pretty sure you've heard of this resource. Italki is a platform where you can teach or find teachers, professional teachers or community teachers, which can be literally everyone. For example, I've tried teaching on Italki. I tried teaching Dutch. Anyway, you can find teachers, and it is not free, but some teachers, like the community teachers, they can be really cheap for like $5. You can find somebody that just wants to talk to you, and you can just practice conversation. And not even that, you can basically practice anything you want, because you can just go there and say, hey, I'm looking for a teacher that can help me with writing, with speaking, with listening, with anything that you want. It's really nice if you want to reach a specific goal with Japanese. I actually want to use Italki a lot more because I haven't really practiced speaking, and it's something that I really want to start doing. So yeah. If you are searching for a place with a lot of people that want to practice speaking, then you should definitely try out Discord, which is basically a community app, like Skype, you know. An app where you have servers and voice calls, and you can find a lot of people who are just hanging out in voice channels and just talking. There are servers. For example, this one server that I used, they have more than 1,000 members on that server, and you can just go there, join a voice channel, and just talk with anyone you want. It's for free. It's just really easy. This server is basically a community for people that are trying to learn Japanese, and it's not just speaking. They also help you with translations. They have events, they organize things. It's really nice to do. It's a really good place to find people and practice speaking with them. For example, this guy that I was speaking with a while ago, I met him on YouTube. I saw he was doing a live stream, and then I asked, hey, do you have Discord? Let's talk. And then we had this conversation. So next up is reading, and if you want to be able to read, then you should consider picking up graded readers. Graded readers are basically books, but these books are aimed towards people at a certain level. So let's say you are a complete beginner in Japanese, N5 level, which is the easiest level, then you can find graded readers that are aimed towards people that are at N5 level. And these books contain grammar and vocabulary, words, kanji, all at N5 level. So you'll understand most of the book. And that is really important because if you don't understand what you're reading and you have to look up every word that you read, then it's really not fun, and you can really get discouraged to learn. If you're interested in starting to read, then I made a video about that, so you can check that if you want. So the other day I thought about buying a manga because I've never read like a physical manga. Well, I have at my friend's place, but I thought, you know, I should really try this out. So I put this on the list, and I think a big pro of mangas are that they're not just pure text. They have these nice images, these nice panels, and of course they have a story. And stories are great because they make remembering easier. But if you're going to read, then you are going to have to learn kanji. Actually, you have to learn kanji anyway, because I don't know why you would want to learn Japanese without wanting to learn kanji, really. And the website that is absolutely great for learning kanji is Wanikani, which I have been using now for, I think, for a month, yeah. So Wanikani is great. I've been using it for like a month now. And what I think is the best thing about Wanikani is that it doesn't shove thousands of kanji in your face. I know the feeling when you are just starting out, you're like, oh my god, so many kanji, I don't know where to start, which ones to learn. But this app knows which ones you have to learn, and they know when you have to learn them, so when you should review them. The only thing you have to do is do your reviews every single day. And those are just, I don't know, like 50 or up to 100 reviews, maybe even more. But if you divide them into 2 or 3 sessions, then it's easily doable. And over time, I will reach that goal of 6,000 words and 2,000 kanji, which, yeah, that's the goal that Wanikani promises. And yes, this website is paid, but thanks to this comment, I actually found out that you can also use this other app, which is Anki, and do the same thing. Now, you probably know Anki, because who doesn't know Anki? Anki uses the same system, the spaced repetition system, which means that they ask you to review your card or whatever you're trying to learn at exactly the moment that you are most likely to forget it, because if you remember it at that point, then you are going to improve your recall. So what you can actually do is use the same kanji that Wanikani uses, and Wanikani is not the only one that uses these kanji, by the way, because there's a list of like 2,000 something, I think 2,136 kanji that are daily used kanji, and you can import these kanji into Anki and then review them every day, just like Wanikani basically. But you know, the reason that I don't like Anki is, well, it's a stupid reason, but it's because they give you too much freedom. Like, you can customize everything, and also because it looks so boring and so black, and it's just, Wanikani has these nice colors and they just make it really easy. You just have to type in the meaning and the reading, that's it. I don't know, I just never really couldn't get into Anki. I've installed it like a couple of times and then reinstalled it, but it's not for me. I use Wanikani. And then of course a dictionary. The only dictionary you need for Japanese is hands down Jisho, which coincidentally means dictionary in Japanese. This website is brilliant. You can look up words, see all the conjugations of verbs, find example sentences, find kanji, find the reading of the kanji, examples, and even the stroke order of kanji. Like, this is everything you need, really. It is simple and it just works. No cons or whatsoever. So another translated tool that I use is DeepL, I guess, which is basically Google Translate, but I think this one is better because the sentences it produces are more natural. So I basically only use it when I feel like I have a sentence, but I'm not sure whether it's correct or not. So I double check and then see if the translation is okay. And then finally, a list of some YouTube channels that I use, because YouTube is like really the only resource that you need. You can learn the entire basis of the Japanese language on YouTube. That is what I did. You can watch this video if you're interested in that. You can find any topic that you like and watch native content about it. Whether that be Super Mario Maker, breakdancing, or just general vlogs, you can find anything. You can watch podcasts, live streams, or just Japanese conversations. And that's the main message that I'm trying to tell you here, is that if you like something, then just combine it with Japanese, because in that way you are going to have fun. And fun is important, because if you get bored, then you'll stop. And if you stop, then you won't progress. And if you have fun, then you will continue. And if you continue, then you'll improve. So that is really important. If you do that, then I'm sure that you will make progress. So have fun and keep studying. And thanks for watching. Bye bye.